airwaves ignite for the chosen few. He's got the voice, the spirit, and the fire. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, taking us higher. He built a palace of cryptids in this lonely space. True Cryptid Encounters, volumes 1 and 2. Coming from the darkness, tell your own tale. He's starting the job out past the setting sun. He's Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, until the work is done. It's a Bigfoot pirate rock and roll show. On the airwaves, watch the legend grow. Come join the beyond and hear the wild scream. Yeah! Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Time to open up your mind. Get ready to rock and roll. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to all, and once again, thank you to the lovely Bigfoot Fidesz for that. I love that piece, you guys. So fitting for the show. BMR, the pirate, on his boat. And you know, I'll say this again toward the end of the show. When I have a new extra when we leave tonight that Fidesz put together. It's part 2 of this. And yes, we'll see who's walking the plank. That's all I'm going to say. So stick around and watch that. It's not quite as long as the intro. It's fantastic. Thank you once again to Bigfoot Fidesz. Subscribe to her on YouTube. She does all these great animated stories. We got all the misfits in there. And she's got her own stuff too. She's very talented. Very talented. Thanks to everybody for coming on. And if this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Krista and Brandy from the Blondes and the Booze. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World. Donnie Cho Says Stuff. Truth or Tinfoil. Paranormal Paul had a pretty cool little show for New Year's Eve. I was on it for a little bit with Natalie, Krista, and of course, Paranormal Paul. That was great. It was kind of funny. Cut it up a little bit there. Hey, Brian Bowden's in the house. Go over and check out at Sir Brian Bowden. He's got a great show, Third Eye Live, as well. So thanks. Hit that like button. And don't forget, mateys, the Super Chat's open. A great way to help support what we do around here. Yes, it is. Also, you members can become BMR Pirates. Arr! Join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. You get a picture of good old BMR sporting a bandana next to your name in the chat room. Yeah, that's what you get. So yeah, go check it out. Become a subscriber. Hit that like button. You know, give a super chat if you will. Donations not expected, but always ever so appreciated of what we do around here. My books are found on Amazon. Bigfoot Michigan Rob. It's all you need to type on your Amazon browser. Yes, do that. That'd be great. And leave a review if you buy it. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up the lovely Krista. Hey, Krista, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, I got a busy day today. Busy day.
I know.
Yeah, I stopped in with you and, of course, you're Krista.
Yes.
Natalie, Paranormal Paul.
Yes.
We had it for a little bit. Then I broke away to make some tacos. And then after this show at midnight in the East, AM, 9 Pacific, I'll be on Spaced Out Radio tonight. So full plate for me.
You do have a busy day. You know what, though? I do have a bone to pick with you.
You always do. Go for it.
No, I'm going to do it on air, too. Yeah. So you had said join the Blondes, Krista and Brandy. It is not just Krista and Brandy anymore.
You know what? I got to get used to this. Natalie and the lovely Mary Lynn.
Right. There's 4 of us now.
But you have to correct me because I'm so used to The Blondes and Booze, 2-3 years you've been doing it, and it used to be the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast.
Right.
Now it's the Blondes and the Booze, but now instead of 2, there's 4.
More. Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm glad you told me that because I will store it in my memory banks.
Yes.
Chris always corrects me. She
I
says
know. Live too. Live
on air. That's why we do live shows. Because we are who we are, Krista, and I wouldn't want you to change for anything.
Yeah, I mean it well.
Yes, of course you do. Of course you do.
Mm-hmm. When I have issues, it's off camera.
yeah, my phone will blow up at any time of the day. You never know. That's why I always have it by my side. And I will tell you this, Krista, and I mean this when I say this. If my phone rings at any time, I will look at it and see who it is. And if I want to talk to them, I don't if I don't want to. But when you call, I answer, or I immediately call you back. Do I not? Is that fair? Is that a fair statement?
That is fair. That is a fair statement. Yeah, because you're wondering, like I called you today to tell you about my little Walmart thing, but did you think I was going to cancel out on you tonight or something?
No, I just figured I knew you wouldn't cancel out. I figured you had some interesting tidbit to share with me, like you normally do anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I talk throughout the week all the time if we're on an air or not, so I figured it was probably not that. Not that. So we don't want to rehash this again. You're going out on New Year's Eve, correct?
I am going out tomorrow night. I haven't been out on New Year's Eve, and oh my God, I can't even tell you the last time I went out on New Year's Eve. So I am going out tomorrow night with Doug, actually. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I told you I'm taking my mom out to dinner to her favorite restaurant. I don't do the New Year's Eve thing. Thanks to Moon at Noon very much. I appreciate you. And Sir Brian Bowden. Thank you, Brian. The super chat is open. Thanks to you guys. Nice way to start the show. Love you guys. Yeah, I take my mom. I'm done with the New Year's Eve stuff. I quit doing that maybe a long time ago. I couldn't tell you when it was exactly, right? I started to recover on New Year's Day, and I didn't do nothing until spring. I mean, I literally don't do anything. I just rest. I rest the body, the mind, the soul.
Right. I hear you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think we should do that. I don't have the resolutions, but I make a point at the beginning of the year just to chill, man, because we all work so hard. Thank you, kitty catty, whack.
Thank you, everybody.
You're awesome, kitty.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as I was saying briefly, that tonight after this show, I'll have about an hour off, and I'm going on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. So if you guys are up, it's fun. Midnight in the East, 9:00 Pacific. I'll be on there. We're doing the year-end 2025 Cryptid thing, whatever you want to call it. So.
Well, tomorrow it was actually just going to be myself. I was going on the St. Louis Talk Radio with Tony Colombo, but Brandy's actually going to join us tomorrow.
Oh, yes.
On the show. So the time that Brandy and I are on is, and I'll post the link and stuff, but it's 5:25 Central Time, so it'll be 6:25 your time. And it's just going to be a quick 15-20 minute segment. And Brandy's going to do it from home. They're going to call her, and then I'm actually going to go in studio and do it again in studio. So be fun.
That'd be really fun.
It's a really big radio station here in St. Louis. A lot of,
I heard you, I think, a couple months ago on it, so you got it rolling.
Yep. So we'll both be on there tomorrow. And 5:25. So
5:25. Excellent. Yep. I'll make sure that I'm paying. Yeah, the last time you're on, I caught the last 10 minutes of it because I was screwed up with my times. But you can find that on the internet too. You can just look up.
They do stream. So if you're not in the area of St. Louis and don't have a dial on your radio in your car anymore, you can find it online too.
Yeah, you can find it online. Hello to everybody. I'm typing all your names and saying hello to you guys. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on. If I missed you, well, we got it's. I'm not yet perfected the typing and the talking all at the same time yet. That is my New Year's resolution.
There you go.
Multitasking. So enough of that. I'm taking Mom out for New Year's Eve, and then after that, I'm chilling, and I'm going to go on with Brandy for her New Year's Eve show. as
Yeah,
as you reminded me today.
which will be streamed on Blondes and Booze, guys.
Streamed on Blondes and Booze.
Yep, show and tell.
Show and tell. Well, with that being said, Happy New Year to everybody, and we got a great guest to close out the new year here. So next time I'm on, it'll be the new year. I have Bryce Edwards, and guess what? I'm pulling him up right now, Bryce. There he is. Hey, Bryce.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Good to see you.
Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I guess happy early New Year.
Yeah, happy early New Year. I'll even throw out a Merry Christmas late. Hey, Eddie and Jen.
I was just going to give them a shout out. I absolutely adore them.
They are an adorable couple. They are fabulous people.
Fantastic kids. Like, I adore them.
Subscribe to them on their podcast, their YouTube channel. I don't know if I can drop the link from here, but yeah, check out Eddie and Jen. They do a great job.
Absolutely, they do.
So Bryce, once again, thanks for coming on. I'm really excited about this because I tried to get you on last year, and you know how things get busy, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And then I think you reached out to me, and my brain went, yeah, I know this man, this person, and so now we're here. Yep. And I was reading some things, and I watched you on a couple other shows. I said, "Oh boy, this would be a fantastic guest." So what I'll do is have you just give a brief introduction.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen. PNL Podcast. Go check her out. PNL Podcast. I think they did a New Year's. They're slating a New Year's Eve broadcast, which I couldn't make, but yeah,
I did though. I am on it.
And Chris is on it. Okay, very nice. Jen's awesome. Jen is awesome. Thank you so much, Jen.
Yep.
Okay, Bryce. You know, sometimes we get inundated with these things, but anyways, how you been? And why don't we start the show with you? Give us a little background, what you're into. How did you get involved with this creature that we call Bigfoot?
All right. Well, hello everybody. My name's Bryce Edwards. I'm from Southern Illinois, and on my family farm, we have Bigfoot, and I would have never guessed that living in Southern Illinois. Quick little bio on me. I'm 41, blue collar factory worker, got 4 kids, married, just local nobody really, but this whole thing here is kind of getting noticed is pretty cool. Yeah, this whole deal with Bigfoot and the farm and everything is pretty wild because basically when I was 10 years old, my grandma, she's passed away since then, but I remember her telling me a story that whenever my dad and my uncle were little, I think my uncle was like 1, my dad was probably about 5 years old, so this would have been roughly 1963. They were out in the front yard, and it was in the summer, and grandma said that this honey bear came out of the woods in the field across the road from the house. And once it got out of the woods, it stood up on 2 legs and looked at her and started walking towards them on 2 legs. And that scared her to death. She grabbed my dad and my uncle, took off, went in the house, locked the doors, and hid in the closet until my grandpa got home from work that night. Now, 10 years old, I hear that, and I'm just thinking, okay, a bear, you know, but we don't have bear here. I mean, occasionally you'll get a black bear migrating through, going to like Indiana or Kentucky, but as far as like a native population, we don't have any. And it honestly, I didn't really think much about that story again until I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I was listening to a Bigfoot podcast, and there was this gentleman that was on there, and he used the term honey bear talking about Bigfoot. And as soon as he did that, the light bulb went off on Grandma's story. So I was like, oh, wow. Okay, Grandma saw Bigfoot. Like, wow. And that also, that makes more sense in her response to what she did, you know, like hiding in a closet and all that. Mm-hmm. If you just see a bear, you would think going in the house would be enough.
Right.
But nah. So then 10 years ago, 2015, I want to say late summer, my dad called me up and told me that him and my cousin Jerry were over at Jerry's house on the farm, and it was about dusk. There was across the road in the field over there. There was coyotes, going off, birds chirping, insects making noise. Well, all of a sudden, he goes, all of a sudden you just hear this big, deep roar. He was like, it was unlike anything he had ever heard before in his life. And he's lived there all his life, except for a few years in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin, he's gone now too. But that guy was always out there, like pretty much since he graduated high school. He moved out there and he hunted, fished all the time. He'd never heard anything like it either. Freaked them out. And so whenever he told me that, he was like, man, he goes, I'd swear that was a Bigfoot roar.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been into Bigfoot most of my adult life. I've always been into the spooky stuff anyways, because that was just kind of like the path grandma kind of set me on, with like ghost stories and UFO stories and stuff. And it was, I was like, wow, well, okay, that's pretty cool. But still, like at that time, I'm thinking Bigfoot's only in the Pacific Northwest. I didn't think there was even a chance it could be down here.
Wow.
And,
Excuse me really briefly. Did Grandma coin what she's seen the honey bear, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, and so sitting there, Dad tells me that. I don't really think much of it. Start listening to podcasts in 2020, and a lot of Bigfoot podcasts and whatnot. I start hearing that term honey bear used more often, mainly with like the old timers using it. And so I'm like, okay, just more reinforcing on Grandma's story. So 2023, on Mother's Day, the month of May, for whatever reason, these last 3 years, the month of May seems to be when activity starts to kick off on the farm. And I don't know if that's just when I notice it, or if maybe they migrate and they're there starting in May. Could be, not sure. But so my wife, she wanted to go out to the farm and she wanted to go look for morels. Being May, I wasn't sure there was any left, but I asked my dad if it was, where would they be out there? And he said, yeah, he's like, go behind Jerry's. There's a stretch of woods right there. He's like, if they're anywhere, they'd be over there by the fallen trees. Okay. So we go over there, and once you get to the back end of Jerry's yard, it turns into like a lot of overgrown grass and everything. And then right beyond that, probably about 20 yards, then you get to a field. And the field had been disked probably within a week, 2 weeks prior to us getting there. So there wasn't like, grass on the ground or anything over there. So we're going through the tall grass and everything. We got our kids with us. And my oldest, he was the first one to get through the tall grass, and he gets to the field. He says, hey, Dad, there's some footprints over here. And I'm like, what? Okay. So I go and I look, and these footprints, whatever you want to call it, are massive. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to run back to the car and grab my tape measure, because I wear a size 13, and these were way bigger than my foot. And you can see toes. And I'm just like looking at it like, you got to be kidding me, because
this imprint was where exactly? The footprint again was where?
It was in the field, cutting the corner, heading towards the woods where we were going, right behind Jerry's place. And he had a little pond that still had fish in it, which would have been in that corner area. Like if you'd walk catty corner from the corner of the field, you'd walk right into the pond. Where Dad and Jerry heard that roar was across the road from Jerry's house in the field on the other side. So basically a straight line right there. That would have been, the field would have been to the south of Jerry's, and then the field where they heard the roar was to the north. But so I get back there, I measure out the prints. They were 18 inches long by 5.5 inches wide.
Wow.
So massive.
That's
massive.
big.
And that they had a
big.
Yeah, the stride on it, I would venture to say was about 4.5 feet. And like I said, it was cutting the corner, just heading right towards the woods. So looking at the prints, I knew they weren't made that day. They were probably about 2 or 3 days old. And I'd sent the pictures to some people that I trusted and being like, hey, what do you think on this? And, they were like, well, it's fresh or pretty fresh. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, you're thinking Bigfoot, right? Because that's what I'm thinking with how big they are and there's toes and everything. And eventually one of them sent it to Lon Strickler. And he even said, he goes, I would say probably 2 days old. And but he had said that there was no known BFRO reports of Bigfoot in the area.
Mhm.
And I mean,
And
I've heard good and bad
this
things
is
about the BFRO.
Bryce, this is in Southern Illinois, correct?
Probably about 20, 25 miles away from the Shawnee National Forest. And there's a lot of sightings there.
There is, yes.
Mhm.
And there's a train track because there's a coal mine not too far away from the farm. And there's a train track that runs to the coal mine. But if you go the opposite direction on the track, it connects to another set of tracks that goes directly to the Shawnee. So, I mean, how they say that, Bigfoot can use things like train tracks or power line right-of-ways, things like that for
Yes, sir.
properly resistance. So,
Well, I think we know the area just because that's I go to the LBL that way. So like Shawnee and all that is off. Yeah. So definitely Bigfoot could be there. That's for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And it was just wild that day because like once we got to the woods, of course we didn't find any morels. I did find a really strange stick structure, but it wasn't very big or anything. It was only like, smaller sticks, only about knee high, but they were kind of placed almost teepee shaped up against the side of a tree. And I mean, I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of took a mental note of it. I've asked a few people about it in the past, and they said that it could have been like a direction marker or something, like, for like some kind of communication between them. Because my personal theory, or my personal thought about what we got out there, I don't think it's just one, mainly because of what happened in November. On my wife's birthday, we were out there, but I'll get to that here after a while. But yeah, I think there's at least 3. But so we go, like I said, we didn't find anything. And then that was pretty much it for that year, because I just was like, wow, that was cool, and I mean, I'm out on the farm a lot, but I've been busy, work and kids and everything else.
Sure.
But my dad lives out there, and I showed him the pictures of the prints and my foot next to it and everything. I can even share that with you guys. I didn't even think about it till right now. But it was wild just because of how much bigger they were than my foot. And I didn't realize it either. Whenever we were in the woods, it was really quiet. But whenever we got back over by the car, you could hear like, birds and grasshoppers and all that kind of stuff making noise. So I don't know if it was around or not, but it was definitely quieter. And
Sir Brian says, based on the foot size and the stride, I'll say about a 7 foot plus female.
I like where he's going with that because of what happened in November and what I heard. Yeah, so that happened, and like I said, I told a few people. Do you guys know Truth and Bass from Impromptu Truth? They're good buddies of mine, and I was talking to them about it, and they're the ones that sent the picture to Lon Strickler, and so they were like, "Man, you got to get back out there." I was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm going to." Just kind of like, for all I know, it was just passing through. You know what I mean? But what I ended up doing is my grandpa, he was battling dementia this year and part of last year. And basically after grandma passed away, then he ended up with dementia and started going downhill. But my dad called me because dad lives out on the farm. And he was like, "Hey, can you grab Pop and bring him out to me on the farm?" I was like, "Yeah, sure," because grandpa lived here in town like me. And So me and my youngest, he was 3 at the time, we grabbed Pop and headed out to the farm. Now, this is when I have my first sighting. So you got to go. There's a main road that'll take you out.
And really quickly, this is all building up from the prints and everything else leading up to this. So you're like wondering, like, yeah, there's something going on, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, after I found those prints, I'd be looking all the time whenever I'm out there driving around, like looking for creatures, looking for deer, looking for people who ain't supposed to be out there, because we're kind of 911 ourselves out there.
Yeah,
and
and it's funny when that happens, because you're just like so wrapped up into it. You're so excited. You got energy that never ends.
Oh yeah.
When you're thinking, what if? So
yeah, I mean, I was having dreams about them being out there and stuff like that. It was weird, like, but it was weird too, because like in the dreams, like it was the opposite field in my dreams of the field that I actually saw it in. But so like I said, we were going out there. We got on the back road to get over to the road that is where Dad's house is. And once you cross the creek, which is Pond Creek, that's when our property begins. And on that end of the farm. And so you cross the creek, you've got, the creek's right there, and you've got the woods growing up next to the creek on the bank and everything. And then you've got 2 great big fields that we farm. And almost always it's soybeans and corn, flip-flop them each year. Sometimes they do winter wheat. We don't farm it anymore. We rent the land out to some local farmers that come and do it. But yeah, it was weird. So this would have been 2 weeks before Mother's Day last year. And about 3:15 in the afternoon, beautiful sunny day. We're sitting there driving, we go across it, and I catch movement out of my right eye. So I look over, and about roughly 65 to no more than 80 yards right there in the field, I see this big black creature bent over. The way the field is it's from the creek to about 3/4 in, it's flat, but then a hill starts, and the hill goes up 1/4 mile. So right there at the base of the hill, I see this big black creature knelt down, thrashing into the hillside like it's after something or digging, just to be digging. I'm not sure. But the arm movement is what caught my attention. And I mean, and when the arm on this thing, God, whenever it went back throwing the dirt, like take my arm, add another half an arm at least. I mean, that thing was long.
Jeez. And
it was solid black. It had kind of a shine or a sheen to the coat. I don't know if it was wet or if it was just kind of like how like horses and like the sunlight hit.
Oh yeah, right.
Something kind of like that. It didn't, at least from that distance, it didn't look like it was shaggy or nothing. It had like shorter hair to it. But the whole sighting only lasted about 5 seconds maximum, just because I was driving and like I see it and I'm like, no way, I'm driving. And a lot of people ask me like, why didn't you stop and take pictures or anything? I had my grandpa with dementia, my 3-year-old with me. There's no way I was going to stop.
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, but so I see it, and whenever it was probably about halfway into the sighting, it heard the car and it stood up, but I never saw the face, because even whenever it was thrashing, whenever it would turn to thrash the arm back, it was turning its back to the road, so I never got to see the face. But the head on it, the way it looked to me, it almost looked like it didn't have a neck because the trap muscles were built so big on it. But had a little bit of a conical shape at the top from what I could tell. But like I said, it was just so muscular in the upper body, it was hard to see a neck in much detail as far as the head. It was big though. But whenever it stood up, it started walking further into the field, so it would have been heading further south. And there's another field. There's like a small, like half little part of woods, and then there's another field behind that, and then there's another set of woods that's like 2 miles deep. and I believe that's where it was heading. But whenever it stood up, it was kind of strange, because when I think of Bigfoot, I think of something that looks along the lines of Patty from the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Yeah.
This one didn't look like that. This one looked more like, the only way I know how to really describe it is there's a Sam Elliott movie called The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Cheesy movie, but
I like cheesy movies. I must admit, I've seen that. Of all the movies I've not seen, I've seen
Hey,
that.
it's Sam Elliott. What's not to like about it?
That's what I was at. I was like, Sam Elliott, I'm in.
However, good old BMR doesn't watch any movies. I'm just saying, I've seen 32 in my entire life.
Nice. Yeah, that so like how the Bigfoot was built in that one, not the red color, but just how the build of it was, the more slender, like swimmer's build or something, you know. It was shaped more like that. And I don't know if maybe just because, you know, lack of food or something from the winter, maybe something like that, or if that's just how it's built. But that was what it looked like. And like I said, it was heading away. So
quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So are you 100% sure it was a Bigfoot and not maybe like a dog man or something, since you didn't see the face?
Well, I hope it wasn't a dog man. I did not see pointy ears though.
Because they say, you know, they're smaller in stature than like a Bigfoot is. You know what I'm saying? Bigfoots are usually big and buff, but
yeah.
You know,
this thing was definitely buff, but it just wasn't like the hulking figure like Patty was.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was a good distance away from me too. So maybe up closer it would have looked a little more bulkier. Maybe.
And there's another thing too, Bryce, too, like Bigfoot, Dogman, like human beings, we're all different shapes and sizes, right? Right, Krista?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've only seen one Bigfoot in my life, so I don't know.
Well, I've only seen one, and it's very interesting.
I don't have anything to compare it to.
Well, Bryce, you can't, but I like what you brought up, Bryce, really briefly. You didn't go to the Patty imaging. Well, we've all seen, everybody in the chat room has seen it, everybody watching has seen it.
Yeah.
It's not, they all don't look like Patty, they all look differently. What I saw looked like a human being at the onset, but just very disheveled, old-looking, creepy person.
Yeah.
Nothing like it had no ape features; it was human features.
Yeah.
You know, so again, they're all different.
Right.
But one thing I do find in common, you mentioned earlier, from a lot of people I've spoken with, and even what I saw, their coats are beautiful. They're very shiny and they're brilliant.
Yeah, it was. It was really pretty looking.
Unless you're rolling around in the mud. They got a fabulous coat. Fabulous coat. But continue on. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem. So I hurried up and got up to the top of the hill, because that's where Dad's house is, and dropped Pop off and told Dad, hey, I just saw something big down in the field, and I'm gonna hurry up and go back and see if I can't catch another, view of it, because this time I was gonna take a picture if I could. And he was just like, oh, okay, like not really knowing what I was talking about. And I was just like, big. And he was just like, oh, okay. Like I still don't think he really knew what I meant then, but it was just like I didn't want to say it out loud, you know what I mean? Because my stepmom was right there, and I don't know, I don't want to look crazy. But so I hurried up and got back in the car, went down there. Of course, it was gone. So I was like, crap. So I'm sitting there, and I went ahead and went on home, told my wife about it. And she's a believer too. And like me and her, we've had ghost experiences and all that. I can talk about that later if you want. But so I told her what happened, and she was like, well, you're going back tomorrow and you're going to see if you can't find where it was at. And I was just like, I love you. But she's a big supporter. And so we ended up going back that next day. It rained that night, which aggravated me, because I was like, well, this is going to be impossible to find, because right where it was at, like I said, digging in the hillside, rain, mud, water, all that going downhill. Took me a little while, but I did find it. And the tracks were 16 inches, and I don't remember the width off the top of my head, but I want to say it was right around 5 inches, maybe 4.5. But they were 16 inches, partially filled in because of the rainwater and everything. And the dig site, I could still get my hand in it, but you could tell it collapsed down a little bit. So I'm not sure how big it really was where it was digging into the hillside.
Sure.
But I mean, it was cool to find it. But here's the thing. When I was standing up, walking around out there, Amber said she could barely see me. And then whenever I found the area and I knelt down to take pictures, she lost sight of me completely. Now, keep in mind, when I saw it, it was kneeling down. I saw probably mid-thigh up. And then whenever it stood up, I saw the rest of it.
Wow.
So that was big. Whatever it was, that was big. And so, like, I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to figure out where it came from because I didn't know if it came from the creek, you know, the woods further up the hill, you know what. So I'm sitting there and I followed the tracks because you could kind of make them out. Like I said, you know, the mud and everything, it was filling them in. So it was kind of hard to see them a little bit, but it was coming from the creek. And I ended up figuring out like where it came out at because you could see like this like opening basically where something big had been going through a bunch and kind of like broke little branches and stuff like that as it was going. But here's the crazy part. So I get over there and I'm looking around and I'm trying to find
Bryce, can I ask you a quick question unrelated? Is somebody typing in the background?
No,
I hear a chitter. Somebody was asking, are we typing? I noticed. I thought maybe there's something outside of your vehicle. No big deal.
It may be because I'm on my phone. I apologize.
No, you're fine. It was just
I thought
funny.
it was you, Rob. I even
I don't. No,
it's not me.
My keyboard is. You can't hear it. I thought
Yeah,
it was Krista.
I got asked that before. Brent Thomas asked me that. He was like,
man, that's weird, dude.
And I'm like,
Yeah, but anyways, it's not disturbing the show at all. I thought it was Chris. I said, Chris can't type that fast to begin with.
Nah, it may be the keys or something jingling. I'm not sure.
You're. Don't worry about it. It's just funny. People are making comments, but it's all good. They're all fun with it. They don't care.
Right. All right. Cool. But so I found the opening from the creek area where it had been coming out and going into the field, and I was looking around through there trying to see if I could find some more tracks or whatever I could find, really, hair or anything. And I ended up finding a tree break, and the branch was about 10 feet up. And I can guesstimate that pretty good because I used to work at Home Depot in the lumber department. So I know what 8-foot boards look like. And this looked like about 2 feet taller than that. So this branch was broke down, but not just broken down. It was also twisted around 2 or 3 times. And to me, that's something that can reach up that high with a hand, strength, and intention.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, all right, I got my evidence. So I'm going to get out of here. And I got back to the car and everything. And that's when Amber told me that she had lost sight of me whenever I bent down to take the pictures and all that. And so that just, like, when she told me that kind of was, I was just like, man, like, this thing was big. And so that was pretty cool. I got a buddy, his name's Joe Terry, and he's a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker, specializing in like cryptids, Bigfoot, UFOs, things like that. I know he has a YouTube channel, and me and him, we've been friends for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And so I hit him up and I was like, hey man, so there's a Bigfoot on the farm. He was like, what? And so I was telling him about it and I sent him the pictures. I also had talked to Joe Doyle from Hellbent Holler, because when I had the sighting, you know, much like you were saying, Krista, it was like, was I sure I saw a Bigfoot? At that time, I wasn't sure what I saw. I just knew I saw something big that was not a person on 2 feet. And I talked with Joe about it. And, you know, I mean, he was really cool. He, you know, listened to everything I had to say. I bet we talked on the phone for probably close to 2 hours. And he was like, man, he's like, everything you've told me and everything. He's like, I think it was a Bigfoot you saw.
Yeah.
And
I'll be right back. I keep coughing, so I apologize for going in.
Yeah, no, and when I blanked out, I was listening to you. I was just seeing if it was something on my end with the clacking, but whatever.
is it still doing that?
Huh?
Is it
I
still
don't
making
know.
that noise?
No, it's not now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think it might have been me. I don't know. I wasn't typing though, but anyway, continue on. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Oh, no
Joe's a
worries.
great guy to get information from. Him and Hellbent Holler.
Yeah.
They would know. They're out in the field like all the time for people.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. Go subscribe to their channel if not already. But yeah, so continue.
Yeah. So I was sitting there and I talked to Joe Terry, like I said, my buddy, and he was wanting to come out shortly after that, but our schedules just didn't line up. We ended up having to wait until early summer this year before we could get together, and he wanted to do a on-scene investigation and interview, and that was whenever we came up with the name the Pond Creek Monster and all that stuff. And we made a video and he put it on his YouTube channel, and within like a week or two, it already had almost 10,000 views. And he was like, we're going to do a full-blown documentary and do a bunch of investigations out here. I was like, come on. I mean, he has all the cool gadgets and everything. I don't. So I was like, yeah, come on out.
There you go. The cool gadgets, man. I love the cool gadgets.
Oh, I know, dude. He let me use the parabolic dish, and that thing is mind-blowing whenever you hear things on it.
You can hear crickets from 5 miles away, man.
Dude, I swear. I swear. But so let's see. I got my notes right here. Got to look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, so me and my dad, we were sitting there. I had borrowed his lawnmower. This would have been June. Yeah, June of this year. And I brought it back to him. It was later in the evening. It was about 9:30, and we were getting it off the trailer and getting the trailer off my car and everything. And I was getting ready to leave, and he was like, "Hang on a second. One of the boys left their soccer ball here. I'm gonna go grab it." I was like, "All right." So he goes. He gets about maybe 4 or 5 steps away, and there's a little pond behind his house, about probably 300 yards from where we were at. All of a sudden, just faintly, I heard this whoop, and it was just like whoop. I mean, it wasn't aggressive. It almost just sounded like a "hey, I'm over here" kind of thing, Wasn't an owl though. Like, it didn't sound like an owl at all. Not a barred owl, any of them. And I was sitting there and like I almost ignored it at first, and I was like, wait a sec. I go, "Hey, Dad, did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah, I was waiting on you to say something." He's like, "I hear stuff like that all the time out here." Then he started telling me about everything he's been experiencing out there. And like, he's in the documentary and everything, but he doesn't want to go on any other shows or anything like that because he just likes to keep to himself. He's like, "I'll tell you everything and then you can tell everybody else." But yeah, so he's heard some really strange things. He's heard owl mimicry, something trying to sound like a coyote, but it's too deep and you can tell it's not a coyote, but it'll always be when a pack of coyotes are going off. And that's weird. Like, I've actually, me and Joe got audio of that. And
I've heard that before too, out at our place, Emmaus Village out here.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is.
And so another thing.
Can I ask you a quick question, since you've had this fantastic experience? Did you notice anything different, or were you more in tune to the forest? Did you hear other sounds that perhaps you were unaware of before, aka like the owl?
Yeah, there's been some strange sounds coming out of the woods here lately, and I don't know if it's just because now I'm listening for it and looking for it,
right,
or what. There's also an energy there. I always just thought it was like the feeling of home, and I mean, yeah, there's that because it's been in our family for generations, since the 1860s, and but there's something else. There's just an energy. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But there's been mimicry of train whistles, and yeah, because there's that train track I was telling you about that goes to the coal mine. It's right there behind Dad's house, probably, I don't know. The pond's about 300 yards, and I would say the train tracks are probably about another 200 yards behind that, just guessing. And he said the train would go by and be gone, and then you would hear something try to do the train whistle. So I played the Ohio house for Dad to see if it sounded anything like that. And he said it sounded a lot like that, but not nearly as long. So that was pretty cool because I was like, okay, because that gave me an idea of what he was trying to describe, you know. And he's been whistled at, like a shrill, like 5-second long whistle. Because after Grandpa passed away, Dad started having a lot of bonfires late at night out there and just sitting out there by him, you know, and just kind of dealing with everything. And they seem to like bonfires. Like that seems to attract them because he's like, I'll hear whoops, I'll hear whistles. He was like, you'll hear knocks, just all kinds of stuff. And that was, like I said, the whole thing that happened this past November. We were having a bonfire when all that happened. So,
you know, you bring that up. This is fascinating because I've never mentioned this before, but I've talked to a lot of people in regards to Bigfoot, specifically Bigfoot, about when they have a campfire. It seems like they're attracted to them. But I also find a lot of people, many people, about a half a dozen people that I can recall, have had a Bigfoot trample through their campsite. And you know what they do? They walk through the fire.
yeah.
And they don't extinguish. It seems like they relic in it. They play in it.
Yeah.
Camp around on it. It's interesting you brought that up because you're like the 10th person that's told me this.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and he was telling me that, and he told Joe that whenever I introduced him and everything, and Joe was filming the interview. So the day that we did the on location, the first interview, first video documentary for his channel, it was pretty, you know, all right, yeah, this is where it happened. You know, the investigation didn't yield anything. I shouldn't say it didn't yield anything. We did find another scrape site, I guess you could call it. And it was weird, though, because it wasn't nearly as far out into the field. This was actually pretty close to the road. There was a pipeline. I don't know who the company was, but there was a pipeline, natural gas, getting put in the back end of that field this year. So it was all tore up back there. And so the farmers and everything hadn't been able to come and get the field ready yet to plant. So we still had the corn stalks from last year after they gotten combined, what was left still kind of laying around in the field. And it looked like something had took a bunch of them and just made like a wreath, like a Christmas wreath almost in this one area. And then in the center of it, had been digging with its hand, because at first I was looking at it, I was like, is that a footprint? Like, that's not a footprint. And then whenever I like held my hand out to it, I was like, that's a handprint. And it was way bigger. Like, I've got a big hand, and this thing was at least 2 inches longer on the fingers and way wider than my hand is. And yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I forget, for like the height reference and me saying my wife couldn't see me and all that stuff, I'm 5'10". So I forgot to mention that earlier. Okay. Yeah, so that was wild seeing that, because it was like, okay, but I don't like, it wasn't like a deep dig though, so I don't know what it could have been going after. Maybe it saw a snake, maybe, you know, like a small varmint or something. I don't know. But oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have I don't look at them, and then
you don't apologize. Great show. Everybody's loving the show. They love you. So yeah, don't worry about it.
Anybody who's heard me before is probably saying, why hasn't he mentioned the deer skeleton? So okay, back to 2023 when we found the footprints. I'm sitting there and we see this deer carcass, but it's not like, it's just like a skeleton, but it's ripped in half. Like literally, you've got the back half not too far into the field, and then going closer to where the wood line was is the other half, the front half of it, fully intact, other than the fact that it was ripped in half. So it wasn't like that was done by coyotes, because I've lived out on the farm most of my life, and anytime I've come across a coyote kill, bones were always scattered everywhere. I mean, the only thing that was left on it that wasn't bone, you know, it was just like the front hooves from the front legs
Mhm.
from the hooves up to about what I would call its knee. There was fur there. Other than that, everything was picked clean. But weird because it was ripped in half. Like there wasn't like, coyote over here, coyote over there, and they pulled it apart. Like that was really weird. So personal opinion on that was it must have grabbed a deer and ripped it in half.
Mhm.
But I just thought that was weird, and just another thing to file away. But I forgot to mention that, so I apologize about that.
You're all right. You're good.
All right, back to 2025. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking with Joe Terry, and he was wanting to come back out and bring another guy with him that he does a lot of his research with. His name's Jason Dickerson, really good dude. And they wanted to come down and do some more investigating. I was like, yeah, come on down. And this would have been in August. I want to say the 22nd. I could be wrong though. It was whatever Saturday that was around the 22nd.
Mhm.
So they come out and let's see. They come out and by this point I had found more tracks and took pictures of them to send to Joe. Found some more that were 16 and a couple that were 14. And it wasn't like it was people out there walking around. Cause I mean, there's copperheads out there all over the place. So like nobody's going to be out there in their right mind walking around barefoot, and especially with feet that big.
Right.
And it wasn't like either, because by this point in time, the farmers had got to farm and everything. So it wasn't like it was them walking around out there. Now you could see their prints too out there sometimes, but it was always boots, So, I showed Joe that, and Jason, he was sitting there and talking, and we did a daytime investigation leading into the night. Earlier in that day, they got out there way early. I had my son's soccer game that morning, so I didn't get to be there until the afternoon. But do you guys know who Tony Gerard is? He was on Monster Quest back in the day.
I don't.
If I would see him, I might, but the name does not ring.
The name
a bell.
does not ring a bell, but anyways, I'm sure he's a Monster Quest, so he's probably been around.
Yeah. He's a super smart guy. He's like I think he's a biologist or something like that. Joel, let me know if I got that wrong. Anyways, we had him out there, and he's in the documentary and talking about, like could this place, support something that big and everything, and just spouting off all the knowledge. And I didn't get to meet him, but he was out there, so that was cool. But
how much? Real quick, you might have said, and I might have missed it. How much property do you have?
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't mentioned that yet. No, it's a 642 acre farm.
It's a huge farm.
Yeah, real big. And I would say every bit of 200 acres at least that we own is wooded. And see, the coal mine, when they came in, they bought everybody out. We were the only family that didn't sell out, besides this one couple that lives on the corner of the road that my dad lives on and the main road at the other end. They just own that little spot where their house is. Otherwise, the rest of that whole area is ours.
Wow.
And then so like all these places that sold out because the coal mine came in and bought everybody out in 2006. So go to now, you've got almost 20 years of time for growth and everything to happen with trees and all that. Perfect camouflage for these things.
Sure.
And I mean, there's, like I said, there is a main road, but not many people live on it. And then, like I said, where the farm is, we're the only ones out there besides that one couple. And I mean, even then, there's not many of us out there anymore, just because grandparents have passed. My one cousin passed. I still have another cousin out there. My dad's out there, and I'm out there visiting a lot. So, but so whenever we were over there doing the investigation in August, I was using just a regular boom mic this time. I didn't get to use the parabolic yet, and got a wood knock, and that was pretty cool. We got some eye shine that evening, and that was kind of weird because there is a I don't know why, but there's a boat out in the woods.
Boat in the woods.
A boat in the woods, yes.
It's in dry dock. It's in dry dock.
I guess so. I guess I don't even know whose it was, but it's not like a big boat or anything. It's I mean, it's bigger than a bass boat, but it's I don't know. But this was probably gauging from like the top of the boat to where the eye shine was. I'm gonna say right around the 7 foot mark. Now I am red-green colorblind. I didn't know that until I had to take a test where I'm looking at this book of all these dots and I'm supposed to find the hidden number. And I was like, what number? Yeah, good time. Good time. Oh yeah. Yeah. That might explain whenever I was a kid though, why those posters that always had the hidden image, I could never find the hidden image. So
you get a lot of traffic violations with the red and green light then?
No, that's the weird part is like, I could see that just fine. But like say like the moon, you know, how sometimes the moon will look right and like I'll be like, oh wow, look at the green moon. And they're like, that's red, that's orange. And I'm like, well, green to me. You know. So it's situations like that. But to me, the eye shine looked green. Okay. Could have been red, I'm not sure. We did get that night we did get a picture on the night vision of an orb. And that was wild. And my grandma had told my wife about seeing orbs and stuff like that. She called them ghost lights in the woods and things back in the day. So Jason, I had to leave early that night because I had to work the next morning, I think. And Jason and Joe, they had these electric bikes. So they were going to go right around the farm and go deeper into some areas and try and see what they could find. And back down by the creek, they found about I want to say Joe said it was about 20 yards in the grass area by the field where you could see where something big had been walking through there. And it wasn't like it was, it wasn't where he described it was not where I had found the tree break at. So it was like the opposite side. But he said it was so weird. He was like, because it was like you could see the impressions in the grass, but he's like, it wasn't anything that would really show up on footage, you know, like you couldn't get a picture of it or nothing. You could just, if you were there and seen it, you could see it. But he said that they were just going, and then all of a sudden they just went into the woods. There was like this opening right there and went into the woods. But then once they went into the woods, you couldn't really make out where they went from there. And so he made a note of it. And I believe he has like camera footage of them, like where the trail is and all that. I just haven't seen it yet, but yeah, it's pretty wild because, you know, it's just more evidence to me.
Sure.
And so there was, let's see, we got some audio of whoops and, like I said, a tree knock. Then October, believe it was the 17th. Joe got a hold of me, wanted to know if it was all right if him and Jason came down and we did a nighttime investigation. Wait a second, I got ahead of myself. Still in August, sorry.
We're
Still. So part of what we were doing, we were filming for the documentary. It's going to be coming out on streaming services. And he wanted to talk to my wife. I almost skipped my second sighting. So whenever he was sitting there and they got out there and we were doing all of our stuff earlier in the day, they went back into town here because there's a campground here. and they were just kind of chilling, waiting for it to get a little later in the day, and then we're going to go back out there and film Amber's interview. We were going to try to go for a fireside interview, and just because we thought it sounded cool, and it ended up not really turning out just because of the lighting. But whenever we got out there was me, Jason, and the cameraman, and Joe, and so we're sitting there, and it's roughly close to 7 o'clock. And we go over to where we were going to film Amber's interview at. And whenever we were pulling out, me and the cameraman were sitting on the tailgate of Jason's truck. He had this like big F-350. And whenever he pulled out and onto the road, which is the road that Dad's house and all that's at, the main road for the farm, down there at the bottom of the hill, middle of the road, right by the creek, right by the bridge, was this big, tall, black, thin figure. I say thin, it was a quarter mile away. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And before I could say anything, the cameraman, who is a complete skeptic, he was like, hey, do you see that? And I'm like, yeah. I go, yep. He goes, is that a person? I said, that is way too tall to be a person. I was like, and if it was a person and they were dumb enough to be out here right now, gotta be with them. But I was sitting there, we were watching it because like they're pulled out, but I mean, they were just, I don't know. It was just like, they weren't really driving very fast at all. They were just kind of creeping. And the way that this thing was standing, I could tell it was looking at us, but like, it wasn't standing in an aggressive posture. It was more, to me, a curious posture because it was kind of leaning to the left a little bit. Like, to me, it was trying to figure out if we were coming towards it or going away. And I mean, he was trying to, debunk it. He was like, well, this is a country road. Maybe it's, just the tar mark in the middle of the road. I'm like, tar marks aren't that tall. I'm like, they're on the ground. I'm like, this is something big standing up. And of course, solid black. I think it was the same one I saw. If not, it has a brother. And of course, we get to where we were going to do the interview for Amber, and we tell Joe and Jason, and they got mad at me. They were like, why didn't you hit the truck or something? Say stop. I'm like, I was talking to him. Like, I was in the moment of seeing it again. And being like, like having a witness with me this time that I could talk to about it, and just, back and forth with him on, are you seeing this? Like, yes, like confirming that we are seeing the same thing, and it's, just not trick of the light or whatever. And it was wild.
That is wild. That's wild. Hey, really quickly, Bryce, and we'll let you continue on, of course.
Yeah.
Briefly, I like to do this right around this time in the show. I want to thank Moon at Noon, Brian Bowden, Kitty, Caddy, Whack, Moon at Noon again, and PNL, Jen, Podcast, your awesome super chats. And that's right, everybody. We got 5 new BMR pirates, thanks to Keith R. Mateys. Join the few. And you're going to hear that again later on tonight with my new extra. That's right. All right. Thanks, everybody. I had to do that. I'd like to do that right around the 60-minute mark to thank everybody that contributed. So, I don't want to get you off your concentration level, but I've got to imagine what I love about this is with like your grandmother. I bet you she's got stories upon stories about not only Bigfoot but other things on this. Yeah. It seems like it's a great place great spot to investigate for all this stuff. She definitely had more stories. She told me UFO stories. She told me a story that I had to ask my dad about it just to make sure it was, like legit. She told me about, it was in the 70s, and she had picked up my dad and my uncle, and they were heading back out to the farm, going home, and a cigar-shaped UFO followed them all the way from town, clear out to the farm. And she said that it went across the road
in the woods over there where the honey bear happened, and she said it looked like to her that it had went down and landed. Now to me, maybe it was just it kept going in the horizon and it just looked like it landed, I'm not sure. But she swore up and down that it landed. Now I asked my dad about it, and he was like, yeah, he was like, it was silver. He was like, it had blue lights and, some other color lights on it too. He said my Uncle Danny had the better picture, or had the better view of it, because he was sitting in the back seat watching it the whole time. And every time I ask him about it, he's just like, oh yeah, yep, it was, it was there. But he
I
never
didn't mean to,
really
yeah,
detail.
that's awesome. I didn't mean to put you off track, but I had to mention Grandma, man, because
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, she was a sweet girl. I miss her, that's for sure.
I mean, 1860s, you guys, that property has had things going on. That's fantastic.
Yeah. There's my great grandma. I was lucky enough to have her until I was 22. And of course, back then I didn't even think to ask her about anything like that, but she died whenever she was 99 and a half years old. And I mean, she lived out there pretty much the whole time ever since her and my great grandpa that I'm named after got married. I mean, she was out there. So there's no telling back in the day what, she would have seen, heard, whatever, I mean, I wish I could go back in time and ask her about that, because and like, I mean, since we're doing this part, I'll go ahead and give the little story about the history of the land itself before we move around it. So the field that I had my sighting in, there used to be a Native American settlement there. And I'm just going to guess Shawnee, because, Shawnee National Forest and all that's like right in the area. But I could be wrong. Could have been Cherokee or somebody else. But anyways, there was that. I mean, used to the creek, whenever it would rain and then, give it a day or two and the water would go down, you could go in the creek and find arrowheads all day. And, one of my dad's best friends, before he passed away, he had like drawers full of arrowheads and like rocks that looked like they may have been axe heads at one time. Just all kinds of stuff. But in the field across from that, a little further up, more closer to my dad's house, I'm not exactly sure where, I just know the field, but Dad knows where it was. There was a fort. And I won't say the name of the fort because that'll give away the location of the farm.
Yeah.
But this fort was one of the first built. I had to do a little research on it. But it was one of the first forts built in America's expansion westward of the Ohio River.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can imagine
history
they had on the Indian. And Southern Illinois University in Carbondale, Illinois, they've been out to the farm twice, once in the 80s, and they did like a excavation out there. And then again, I want to say in, 2010, I think they came out and did it again, and like where the fort was. And I mean, they found all kinds of artifacts, like buttons, remnants of a sword, musket balls, just all kinds of stuff, and arrowheads.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. And like, whenever I was talking to another podcaster I'd done a show with, he kind of brought up a theory that I had never thought of. Now, I don't know how people feel about the woo. To me, I'm right in the middle with it. I believe both sides. I believe some of them could be flesh and blood, and I believe some of them.
I'm the advocate. I think they're both. I was going to ask you that. I always ask folks that. I think they're both.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get into my theory, but I want you to continue with yours. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because, to me, it's like, like there's people who are, humans that are clairvoyant or other things, why couldn't Bigfoot do, have its own special abilities? That's the way I look at it.
Sure.
I think they have special abilities. I think they, people, the woo, whatever, but paranormal, supernatural, the woo, it's all the same. To
Mhm.
me, these things, these creatures, and I don't even like to use the word creature because I think there's a human element to them as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
I'm not going to call. I'm not in the ape camp.
Yeah,
They're much more than an ape.
big time.
They're not a dumb gorilla walking around, and they're not. There's something in between there, right?
Yeah.
And they're socialized species, right?
Mhm.
They have a
Yeah.
family. They have the husband, the wife, the daughter, the son, and they've
Mhm.
got their sentinels that protect them. And
Yep.
it's an aggregate of all. They're a little community,
Right.
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's like a village that we all would live in, but it's a
Oh, yeah.
village of these.
Mhm.
Some people say ancient humans. I don't know what the correct verbiage is, right? But there's
Right.
something that we are not, but it's definitely not an ape, and I'm not in the ape camp. And people, again, it's 2025. The ape camp theory is it was that 30 years ago, man. Wake up and smell the coffee. It's more than an ape, man.
Yeah.
It's not
And
again a Pithecus, for God's sakes.
right.
At one time I was
I know
in the
you were.
ape camp. I
I
was.
know you were. But
Yeah, when I first got into it, and everything, I just thought it was an undiscovered ape, That's what I thought in the beginning.
Me too.
And, you hear more people's stories and you start doing a little research. You're like, no, there's more to this than just that.
Right. You start going out in the woods and weird things are
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah.
they
can't
cloak,
explain. So
they can travel a million miles an hour. Now, of course, they have a long stride, but who
Right.
knows? Do they teleport? Do they walk through portals? Do they create portals? There's so many things that that they shut down, which I believe is not correct. If you want to study
Yeah.
this and get involved in the mystery, you got to open all the avenues, man. You
Exactly.
just can't be with blinders. People
Yeah.
with blinders on, I got no use for them. Sorry, take a leg.
Exactly. Closed mind, see nothing,
Exactly.
Like, so, okay. So like with this whole Native American thing, the guy I was talking to, he said, because like what I do when I go out to investigate, again, I've a lot of the things I do, I've learned from listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And there was this Native American on one podcast. I don't remember who it was, but he was talking about, if you go out there and you really want to have an experience, go out there, call them Forest Brothers, welcome them, tell them you come in peace, state your intention, all that. So that's what I started doing. And it's working because when I go out there, I'll get, like say if the field that I have my sighting in, I'll go out there and I walk about quarter of the way out into the field, and I don't say it like I'm not out there screaming it or anything, but I'll just say, hey, Forest Brothers, it's me. Just wanted to welcome you to the farm. Make yourself at home. All I ask is that you respect our properties and, don't tear anything up that's ours. I was like, but you guys are more than welcome to be here. I come in peace because when I go out there, I never have any weapons on me, not even so much as a pocket knife. And people give me crap about it. But if I'm saying I'm coming in peace, I don't want to give them any idea that I'm not, And
I personally, though, and this will cause a lot of flack, I don't think there's some big, furry, friendly creature out there. I'm not saying they're all mean, but
right.
I feel like, they'll protect their own at any cost, so people talk about, there are these, furry little things out there and they won't hurt you. Well, I wouldn't put my guard down out in the woods. I don't.
No, I definitely don't want to go rub one of their bellies or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
no, I wouldn't either. Hey, listen,
from a distance again.
another thing that people get mad. Another thing people get mad at me about, not all people, when I say it's not the friendly forest giant, like a lot of people say,
Yep.
hey, look,
I agree.
We haven't heard anybody get, any really, really bad things. There have been things about Bigfoot. We've heard some bad things, but for the most part, you're talking about like the dog man, right?
Yeah.
Or the Wendigo or some of these other Gugway, right, that have been known to do malevolent attacks, right?
All of them are good.
I
don't want to see.
Hey man, some of these people say, okay, you believe that theory, then okay, on your property, leave your 5-year-olds together playing outside with Bigfoot at the tree line. I'm not doing that. Are you?
No,
Go ahead.
absolutely not. No, no, definitely. One time I did that. I don't think it was the first time I did it. I think it was the second time I did it. I was out there looking for more prints, and I found a couple, and I took some pictures. And when I took some pictures, I heard this vocalization, because I did ask, can you give me a sign of your presence? I was like, if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you would, that'd be really neat.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why they can understand me either. I don't know, because it's not like Bigfoot speaks English, you know? But I think maybe they can just like pick up on my intention, you know, like that I'm not there to cause any problems. But from the creek, I heard this weird sound that, to me, it sounded like a loud belly growl, but that was your voice and you were mumbling. So I'm going to do it, but it's going to sound really funny. But it's kind of like a kind of like that. Yeah. And I started hearing that coming from over by the creek. Well, at first I'm like, what? And like looking over there, like, okay, that's weird. And then I was like, well, you know, am I hearing a dirt bike off in the distance or something? And it wasn't that, because like you could tell it was coming from the creek, and the creek was only about maybe, I don't know, 60 feet away from me. And so, you know, I just, you know, paid attention to it, but I also, like, I already had my camera out taking pictures of prints that I was finding, but I didn't want to like turn on the audio or anything, because I was afraid if I did something like that, it would stop. And, you know, people give me crap about it for that, but hey, you know, it's just what I was thinking at the time. And this went on for a good 5 minutes or more.
Sure.
But it wasn't like constant. Like it would do it for a little while, it would stop, and then it would do it again. Never once did I feel like I was in any danger. It just, you know, I asked for a sign, and then it started doing that shortly after.
Wow.
Because like whenever I found the prints, I thought that was the sign. You know, I was like, oh, cool, you know. And but then I started hearing that, and I was just like, oh, okay. So that was pretty wild.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really neat. And like, I ain't even gonna lie, whenever deer season was going on, I went out to the farm to go to Dad's house, and I heard a bunch of shotguns going off. First thing I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh God, they're shooting my Bigfoot. You know, I was like, ugh, because it sounded like a lot of gunshots. But yeah, so okay, back into everything that I was talking about. October. So October 17th, it was Joe got a hold of me, and he wanted to do a night investigation and also live stream it on his channel, kind of like for like a Halloween thing, you know. And I was like, yeah, sure, come on out. So this was a weird night though, because they were having all kinds of technical issues, like not just with the equipment that we had out there whenever we were doing the investigation, but even them just getting to the farm, because they camped out in this place called Dixon Springs, and that's not too far away from the farm, but it's not close, you know. And like Joe knew there was a faster way to get there from where they were at, but the GPS kept trying to take them to the interstate, which added an hour. And, you know, he ended up, you know, they were messing with that. And then on top of that, the GPS would just go out. Weird.
Wow.
But so whenever, you know, they were supposed to meet me about, I want to say it was around 7, we were supposed to get started. And I got out there about 6:30, and I took the main road instead of the back way. I took the main road, and whenever I was going by my cousin Tyler's house, because he lives on the main road, he lives in the house that my grandma and grandpa originally lived in whenever grandma had the honey bear sighting. That's the house he lives in now.
Okay.
And there's a field right to the left of the house on the same side of the road. And there's a barn there that my great grandpa built, and Dad was over there on his tractor. So I went ahead and pulled into Tyler's driveway and then walked out to the field to talk to Dad, because I was letting him know, hey, you know, if you see, you know, trucks or cars or anything, that's us. You know, we're going to be out here doing a little investigating. And he had told me that, you know, he'd heard some more vocalizations and knocks and everything. He's like, it's been pretty active. I was like, all right. So I just let him know that. And then I went ahead and went over to his house, and I pulled into the driveway where the pole barn is there. It's across the road from his house. And I just sit there. I turn the car off, roll the windows down, you know, no music or nothing going on. And I'm just sitting there listening, because by this point in time, around 7 o'clock, it's starting to get dark. And I'm just sitting there chilling. Maybe 15 minutes go by, and all of a sudden I hear one of two things. It was either something very big running through the woods, knocking down branches, small trees as it was going, or on a windless night, the top of a tree fell out and hit every single branch on the way down.
Wow.
Twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it happened twice. And I mean, you know, of course, Dad always tells me, anytime you hear anything, don't shine a light immediately as soon as you do it. Otherwise, it won't happen again. Well, of course, as soon as I heard it, first thing I did was shine my spotlight over there. Like, whoa, what's that? You know, because I'd never heard that before, but I'd always heard people describe what I just heard, you know, about sounded like a, you know, rhinoceros running through the woods or whatever, you know. And then it did it a second time. And so when they eventually got there, it was probably about 8:15. And I told them, I'm like, hey guys, I've already got activity going on out here. I'm like, you know, we need to get out there and get going. And they're like, all right, let's roll. So we got all geared up. I'm using the parabolic dish, and we go out there, and this is where it gets kind of weird. So Jason had this thing that would tell you if there was lightning strikes in your area, and it was going off like crazy, saying you got a lightning strike within 1 mile, 2 miles. There was not a cloud in the sky. Like, beautiful starry night. There was no way there was lightning. And on top of that, the Joe's phone, whenever he had it set up to go on his channel to do the live stream, it said we were on YouTube and live streaming, but we were not, because people were texting me asking, you know, hey, you know, where's the link at for this, because I can't find it. That was weird. We caught a disembodied voice or mimicry. I like to think it was mimicry, but Joe thinks it was more of a disembodied voice of something saying, hey. But like when you listen to it, it was like it ended roughly. It was like, hey, you know. And then also a very creepy laugh. And it wasn't like it was Dad, because Dad was far enough away to where if he would have laughed, we wouldn't have heard it, you know. And
wow,
it was just really weird.
I have a quick question. You know, your family's been out there for, you know, well over 100 years, obviously. Has anybody ever talked about, or have you ever had like pets disappear, or chickens or anything like that you all might have out there, cats, or, you know?
There has been times when cats have disappeared. I always just assume, sometimes it's dogs. I always thought they took off, you know what I mean? We had livestock for many years. As far as I know, it was mainly cows. But there were like some chickens and other things. The chickens and stuff was before my time though. But as far as I know, we never had any cows go missing or anything like that. Good. Yeah. One quick thing I forgot to mention about whenever we did Amber's interview. She got a stick thrown at her.
Wow.
And when you say a stick, a twig or a log?
It wasn't very big. It was, you know, maybe 5 inches. Okay. But Joe got it on camera because he was getting the camera set up and he was just paying attention to try and get it focused in on her with the flames and everything going from the fire. And Jason was on the lighting. He just had like some shop lights, you know. And the cameraman dude, he was walking around just kind of taking B-roll footage, and I had the parabolic dish. Right behind us was a great big brush pile because you know that ice storm we had, Krista, this past winter?
Oh yeah.
Well, everything out there looks like a tree break now on the farm because all kinds of branches and trees broke, fell over, and all that. And in that area where we were, Dad had made a big brush pile out of a bunch of them. I did hear on the parabolic dish footsteps behind us off in the distance that sounded bipedal. I'd said something, but it sounded like they weren't coming towards us, more just like something kind of walking, because there's like a little stream back there, and that stream will feed down into the pond creek. And I said something about it, and you know, they're just like, okay, cool, we'll just, you know, keep an eye on it. Okay, so doing that, but I'm watching her. You know, she gets ready to start talking, and all of a sudden you just see her go, okay, who threw a stick? And we're all just like, what? And she was just like, you didn't throw a stick? I'm like, none of us threw a stick. And she was like, okay, well, a stick just came flying and hit me right in my ankle. And we're like, what? So no sooner than she said that, I turned back around listening with that parabolic dish. And I mean, you could hear something that sounded like footsteps hurriedly going away from us. Now it wasn't like, you know, I've had some people be like, well, you sure it wasn't your dad messing with you? No, it wasn't my dad. My dad was in his house. Like, you could see Dad's house where we were at, and he was inside. So that was weird. We went ahead and did her interview, and, you know, she did great and everything, but like, you could tell she was visibly disturbed because of the stick incident. And she would like keep looking around whenever she was talking, just because she felt like she was being watched. And I mean, we all did. You felt a presence out there, you know. So we get done with her interview, we send her off, and then we'll get back into the October one now. Yeah. Okay, so back in October. I'm sorry for bouncing all over the place. Just
no, you're bouncing. Well, you know what? Well, I'm going to tell you this, Bryce. You're coming back because I know you've got another 2 hours in you. But
yeah, and I got to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so after, you know, all these different electronical malfunctions that they were having with their equipment and everything, the parabolic was working all right. Got a really good tree knock. You could tell it was from a distance away, but it was solid. They decided, well, okay, let's go back over to the truck, aka base camp, and you know, swap out some stuff, and let's go down by the creek. So we go to do that, and Jason has this thing called an Aztec death whistle.
I've used them.
That is nothing I ever want to hear in the woods.
No, you don't.
Oh, or with parabolic dish headphones on again.
Not with no. Oh my
God.
That hurt.
Blow your eardrums out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If all the Ozfest I went to, and whenever I was a teenager, didn't do it, that thing definitely did.
Ozfest is another story.
Yeah.
I went to Ozfest really briefly where I live when I was in my 20s, and it was so loud. I came home, my ears were ringing. I had a good seat. See, I was really close.
Nice.
They were reading for like two days. My mom took me to the doctor because she thought I was going deaf. And the doctor said, no, it's
just Ozzy Osbourne.
It's just Ozzy. The doctor, Mrs. Robbie, it's just Ozzy. It's just Ozzy.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Aztec death whistle, something else. We just
Oh man,
we was at half-inch wrench crew's place, and we used it out there too.
Yeah, so he blew it once, didn't hear anything, and about 30 seconds later he blew it again, Now, when he blew it this second time, we got an immediate response, and it was a solid tree knock that had a lot of force in it, almost like it was saying, like, knock it off, you know, or it hearing it, maybe it felt like it was being challenged. I'm not sure, but I was like, "Oh, that was solid. That was, I don't think it liked that, you know, just, and I know it sounds weird to say that from just hearing a knock,
Yeah.
but that was the feeling I got whenever I heard it, you know,
Yeah.
and it was weird.
That is weird. And I gotta say something really quick since everyone's still in the chat room. When we end the show, you guys do not go anywhere. Spend the last 50 seconds, because if you guys like my intro that Fidesz made, part 2 is the ending of the first one. You're going to not want to miss what Fidesz did for me, because it's my pirate ship. And some of y'all, I'm just gonna say this, are gonna be walking the plank. It's kick ass. So don't go nowhere
I look forward to watching it.
before the end of it, because it's awesome. I told Fidesz it's such an awesome, too bad it's at the end of the show. So I want to tell you guys, don't go nowhere. Bryce,
Yeah.
man, this has been a fantastic show. I hate to cut you. You know, we do 90 minutes. I'm
Well,
going on Space
Just like
Radio
one
after
more
this.
story, if you want me to
Um,
say it real quick.
Yeah, you know, I'm not ending it right now. I just want you to continue. I just want to prep everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize for all the back
No,
and
yeah,
forth.
don't
No, it's
apologize
been
for
great.
it.
Seriously.
It's been a great
Oh,
show.
cool.
Great show.
Cool. I'm glad.
Give us your last thoughts, your last words. Absolutely.
Okay, so on my wife's birthday, it was November 23rd, and that day it was super foggy all day, especially at the night. And she wanted to go out to the farm and have a bonfire for her birthday. I was like, okay. So I told Dad, I was like, hey, you know, we're gonna come out and have a fire and everything and hang out, may have some friends come out. And he was like, all right, no problem. He's like, I'll go ahead and have one ready for you. Cool. So we get out there about 4:30, and by 5 o'clock, it's pitch black night here. And like I said, it was really foggy. You know, fire was going, and, you know, Dad was hanging out with us for a little while, and then he went in, and we were sitting there. Probably about 45 minutes had gone by. Nobody had shown up yet that was, you know, said they were coming. All of a sudden, this is the scariest thing I've heard out there so far. Over my shoulder and a good distance away, my guess is probably the woods where those 18-inch prints were leading towards whenever I first, you know, found anything. I think it was over there, maybe even further. You just hear this very loud scream that sounded feminine or female.
Yeah.
But when it ended very much ape-like.
Okay.
And I mean, it was like a solid 10 seconds. Now, I know like foxes, sometimes deer, even groundhogs make noises that are screams that could be like that, but this was something. This was not that. And like what Brian said earlier about, you know, the, you know, 7-foot female, that direction, and like I said, it sounded female. So whenever he said that, I was like, okay, you know. But like I looked at her, I was like, did you hear that? She was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, good, I'm glad, because I heard that. And I'm immediately on alert at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking around, because she's just sitting there, and she's like, is it coming this way? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I heard it. I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden her friend Natalie shows up, and you know, she'd never been out there, so she wasn't sure she was even in the right place, and we were trying to figure out who it was because it was so foggy and dark you couldn't see. But ended up being her, and so I was glad that she showed up, because that was one of Amber's oldest friends. And so they're sitting there talking, so Amber's no longer really concerned about that. Meanwhile, I'm over here just on alert, like, okay. So that happened. Then I get a response call across the road, more down towards the creek, but not fully down there. And this one sounded more masculine, and it was a whoop, but it was like almost like if that was the mom that hollered, this may have been the kid, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It almost sounded like great whenever it was doing its reply. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just the vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then it wasn't much longer than that. See where the fire pit is there. You've got the fire pit, you've got an open grass area, and then there's a wood line. So I hear bipedal footsteps on the left. I hear bipedal footsteps to the right. Then I hear bipedal footsteps in the middle, all coming towards the wood line. So foggy I couldn't see the woods, but I knew where they were. And you just started feeling like you were being watched.
Yeah, that feeling.
Didn't feel in danger or nothing, but you definitely felt like maybe the fire, I don't know, but anyways, like the troops got called in or something to check it out. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And that was pretty wild. And we ended up leaving probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And it was just kind of unnerving, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I can't see anything right now. And I know I heard 3 sets of footprints. And it wasn't like, it's like, okay, here, this one on the left suddenly went over to the right. You know what I mean? It was like the one that was in that field across the road had to have crossed the road down the hill and then come up in the woods over there, because that whole hillside right there is nothing but woods until you get to the field where I had my first sighting.
Yeah.
So,
That's just amazing, man. There's been a great show, Bryce. I loved it. In fact, I'm a nice guy. We need part 2. I'll probably just let Krista grab it for the future, because I'm just
and I've talked with Bryce. It's probably, since you came on this show tonight, since we have a lot of the same viewers, it'll probably be in the January 1st of February.
Yeah, no, I mean down the road.
Yeah.
Are you on any social media? People were asking about YouTube. I find you on any YouTube or anything like that.
No, I mean Joe's channels.
Yeah. Okay.
Get it wrong. Red Room.
Okay.
Creative, I think. Legends and Lore. If you type on the search bar in YouTube, the Pond Creek Monster, his will be the first one that pops up, and then a couple of podcasts I've been on also use that.
You know what you can do? It'd be easier. Send me the links, and I'll repost it in this show, because a lot of people will rewatch this. We had up to 85 people at one time in the chat room. There's 429 watching right now, man, which is awesome.
Wow.
Everybody. So thank you so much, Bryce. I appreciate it. Now, people out in the chat room, I'm going to be on Space Out Radio in about an hour and a half. Go check me out over there if you like, if you're up. Krista, what you got going on? Today is Tuesday. You got something Thursday or no?
Yep, we do. We're doing a New Year's Day show. Normal time, same place. It'll probably just be us 4. And but the following Thursday, we have Josh Turner from Paranormal.
Oh, cool.
Be on the following Thursday. He's going to.
That's always a great show with Josh. So yeah, it'd be great. This was a great show. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the thumbs up, you guys. Really quickly, Moon at Noon, Sir Brian, Kitty Caddy, PNL Podcast, Moon at Noon again, Keith, 5 new pirates.
All right.
And yes, and speaking of pirates, you're all pirates, as y'all know, and y'all know if Fidesz makes my intro, which is fantastic.
That's ours too, and she is a
does all of ours.
fantastic person.
Subscribe to Bigfoot Fidesz on YouTube. Her link has been dropped in this. Drop it right now, Fidesz, if you're still there. I know you are. Before I cut to this extra, because this is part 2. Now this is the extra. It's so good. It's just so good. I hate to have it as an extra. That's what I'm telling you guys.
You should play part 1 first. So
I've been playing. Well, yeah, I saw part 1. Well, part 1 is the regular intro.
Okay.
And I don't want to spend 5 minutes because I don't want people to,
Okay.
Go watch the beginning of the show if you have not seen the intro from Fidesz.
And Happy New Year's, everybody.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah,
I'm going to show
safe
you
for all night if you go out.
Yes, I'm going to show you the extra now. Thanks, Bryce. You rock. He has a great show. I'm glad that we had a chance to get together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks to everybody. Love you guys. And this is my latest extra from Bigfoot Fidesz. Here we go.
Thanks for watching Bigfoot, Michigan, Rob, and beyond. Join the many, join the few. Tuesday night PM Eastern, the squad is complete. Thursday at 1 PM Eastern,